exhibition, Academics, Agents, and Activists, was organized to celebrate the centenary of the School of Oriental and African Studies. The School of Oriental and African Studies was founded in 1916, so this year is its 100-year anniversary. Well, the original idea actually was our former director, Paul Webley's, and he wanted to create a kind of legacy for the centenary, not just in book form, but also in exhibition form. And we spent about 3 years creating a history of the school around the people who made the school what it is, basically. The school was founded and received its charter in 1916, and it opened in February 1917 and was inaugurated by the King, George V, with a big celebration that took place in the original building of SOAS, which was the London Institution in Finsbury Circus. The first director was Denison Ross, who was renowned as a linguist. In fact, he was said he could speak over 20 languages. And he was the founding director and therefore kind of set the agenda for the school thereafter. The school was founded as effectively a language school, so most of the subject taught in the early years were languages, but they were languages from all over the world. African languages, Asian languages, we taught Swahili, we taught Chinese, and we were taught often by native speakers. So the teaching profile of the staff covered a wide geographical area.
I suppose the key thing from '38 onwards is the move from Finsbury Circus to the current site in Bloomsbury and the new building as we enter the war years, which is quite an interesting phase when the school was sharing the building with the Ministry of Information. During the war years there was some key work with linguistics and translation, and also with the school training a lot of servicemen and women to go on to serve abroad, but also to work on code breaking at Bletchley Park, for example. Going to Bletchley and also into the services, it was servicemen and women. There was also obviously the most famous group being the Dulwich Boys, who trained here, and several of those went on and are featured later on in the exhibition in the later phases as they carried having connections to the school. Following the war years, the school continued to grow and expand both through the volume of academics to here and also students, and that caused the need to expand the campus. And so under Cyril Phillips, who was the third director, what is now known as the Phillips Building, was constructed in 1973, and this expanded the new library building and was a huge undertaking. And the architect was Lasdon, who's better known for his brutalist architecture on both the South Bank and also the Institute of Education. One of the exhibits we were able to include in the exhibition was the original architect's model, which really illustrates just the sheer scale of the expansion of the school, which we were lucky to get, and also having photographs of the architect with the model as well. As the union developed and grew alongside the school, and it changed dramatically, particularly with being much more politically active from the 60s onwards. It also was very active and quite interesting to see the social side of the union, and we had quite an impressive list of music bands that came to play here in the end, as well as the Velvet Underground. One of the high-profile bands I imagine would be Nirvana, who played their first ever UK gig at SOAS, which is often a surprise for people.
In some some ways, SOAS hasn't changed at all. From its start, it was extremely diverse in terms of its staff profile, student profile, subjects taught, research areas. The biggest changes are in the physical space of SOAS. It's much bigger than it used to be, obviously much more modern than it used to be, but its remit has remained the same, and I think it's a real achievement to have sustained that over 100 years.
Among the exhibits, we also wanted to show not only the earlier expansions of the school, but bringing it more up to date. The school campus has expanded yet again into Senate House North Block next door, which was the original Ministry of Information which the school shared the site with.
Been extremely successful. We've had so much positive feedback from staff, from students, from visitors. At several events, we've had people come up to us saying, oh, you know, I went to SOAS 40 years ago, or my grandfather went to SOAS, and we're so pleased to see that the achievements are being celebrated here.